At 85 years young, an Allen County man has accomplished a lot in his life. As you're about to see, Glenn Conner has already enjoyed 2 successful careers and now in retirement is working on a 3rd. Glenn Conner heads upstairs in his Allen County home and gets to work. The former Air Force colonel and Western Kentucky University meteorology professor now tackles new challenges. He may be retired, but he still works hard. For around the last 10 years, Conner has researched Allen County history. He's written 2 books, Till Freedom Came, A History of Slaves in Allen County, and Frontiersmen in the War of 1812, a look back at Allen County soldiers who fought in this war. Why did you decide you wanted to become an author after having such a busy career beforehand?
Well, I really was interested in the research. And the first book, for example, was about slaves in Allen County and resulted from a visit to the Allen County Historical Society, where I volunteer once a day each week. Each week. Mm-hmm. And she was an African-American lady, came from Nashville to find her roots here. Mm-hmm. And I discovered I knew nothing about African-American history, and I began to read about it and research it for Allen County. And I had a big pile of material, and it seemed like I should do something with that. And so I turned it into a book.
And what did you learn with this amount of research? I mean, I'm sure you learned lots of things.
Well, everything that I wrote in there I had learned during that research. That's the fun part. 1 out of every 4 households in Allen County owned a slave. So it was very common, but they didn't own very many. Mm-hmm. Most of the households had 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. But it's not something that's talked about a lot. Mm-hmm. And so the book, I think, will be helpful to record that history and to be a genealogical source mm-hmm. for African Americans who are trying to trace their family tree.
And the other book?
Well, the other book came in a similar way, that I discovered that we had records of 17 soldiers in the War of 1812 who had been at the Battle of New Orleans. And I thought that was a remarkable number, and I had no previous knowledge of that. Right. Well, it turns out there's 53 who were at that battle, I now know. And that was another case of doing the research and then having all of this material that I couldn't just put on the shelf.
And you're saying these 53 soldiers were actually from Allen County?
They were from, yes, all had roots in Allen County. Okay. Some of them actually lived in Macon County, for example, or Sumner County at some period of their life. But they all had some connection to Allen County. And so the book has biographical sketches of over 150 soldiers from the frontier. And this was at a time when that war began, at a time when the frontier had not extended past this area very far. 58% of the land in Allen County wasn't owned by anyone in the War of 1812 because it hadn't been settled yet. So the notion that that many men would leave the frontier of that sort and go fight a war, fight battles in Canada and in New Orleans, for example, is pretty remarkable.
Take me through the process of actually writing a book. First of all, the research. How long, for example, on the first book that you mentioned, how long did it take to research just to even think about writing the book?
Each of the books took about the same amount of time for the research, and that's about 3 years. Okay. And in both cases, it requires travel to find the places where the source materials are. So I've made quite a few trips to Washington, D.C. at the National Archives, mm-hmm. where the original documents are. Mm-hmm. And so it's, in both cases I was writing about something that hadn't been written about before. So you can't look at the back of the book and
And cheat a little bit.
Cheat a little bit, yeah.
And then once you do the research, then of course, then you start writing. And then how long does it take to write? And then how long does it take to eventually get published?
Well, that was over a year because, first of all, you have to organize the material in some sort of way. Mm-hmm. And the first book is more of a reference book than something enjoyable to read because it has a lot of statistics in it that will be, I hope, valuable to somebody. Mm-hmm. The War of 1812 book, though, is a little more straightforward, and it's written chronologically, and that's easier to write.
What have you enjoyed about this process? I mean, what do you like about this?
Well, the enjoyment is in learning it. I also get enjoyment of telling other people about it, mm-hmm. but the real enjoyment is the learning of it. Mm-hmm. I think that's true with everybody for everything. It's the reason that when you tell somebody something that you know that you're really interested in, mm-hmm. that nobody else cares, mm-hmm. because the enjoyment to you is the finding of it.
Well, now, are you currently working on a book as we speak?
Well, it hasn't revealed itself to me, if that's the case. But I do, we have the Allen County Historical Society has several projects that we're working on now, and we're collecting materials, for example, on the history of the communities in Allen County. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what will happen with that, but it won't be thrown away. We'll do something with it.
What's a typical day for you like now that you've been retired for about 10 years or so?
Well, I discovered that retirement requires structure. So there's an old joke about that the worst thing about doing nothing is you can't stop and rest. So my day is pretty much structured. I'm at work usually by 8 o'clock in the morning, and then work with breaks and lunch and breaks in the afternoon. I usually stop late afternoon. Mm-hmm. But you work whenever the urge is there. In addition to that, sometimes more, sometimes less.
Right. In addition to writing his 2 books, Conner has also had several articles published in different publications. There's no question, all the knowledge he's gained over the years is extremely beneficial to readers everywhere. If you would like to purchase either of Conner's books, they're available at the Allen County Historical Society. That address is 301 North 4th Street in Scottsville. You can also order his books online at Amazon or call Conner at 270-622-6082 for more information. Reporting in Allen County, Kentucky, Barry Hyatt, NCTV.